What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Bets and Run Pure Sports. We had a slow night in the association last night, 4 games, but fortunately, the picks that we gave out, we went 2 for 3 yesterday. Pretty happy about that, and we're going to look to continue the hot streak, giving out the winners. We got Tyler and AP with us. AP, how did your week go? Haven't seen you since last Friday. How'd the cores treat you, and did you do any NBA betting?
Yeah, no, the week was good. It's been outside of last night. It's been a good week. Steady cashing, no big hits, just min cashing. But how bad of a slate was that last night? Like that was. The more I looked at it, the more tilted I got. Even went and poured myself a nice glass of whiskey. It didn't help at all. The slate was still super bad, and I ended up stacking the first game just because I honestly I thought the pace might be good. I thought Trey might help, but he missed. Then I watched him miss like 7 layups in a row. And I mean, there weren't like layups. There were those little in the lane floaters that he always does, but usually he's good to make those. So, anyways, we got
he was like 0 for 6 from 3 too, right? I don't think he hit a
it was. Yeah, but Bogdanovich, he looked very good though. But yeah, we got a nice card today. I'm pumped to get this slate dialed in.
Yeah, I can't wait to start breaking it down with you guys. Telling you before we started, I got a bunch of sides that my model's telling me to take, but I want to talk to you about them, see if it can withstand the scrutiny of 2 other really sharp eyes, and then maybe we'll play some of these bets. Tyler, we had a tough one last night with the Celtics basically deciding that defense was optional in the fourth quarter. But other than that, we've been doing really good this week. What are you thinking about today?
I just picked out a few games. Hoping we get full effort out of these teams tonight and they don't quit after 3 quarters, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, don't expect the full effort because we don't want to end up disappointed again. But hopefully we can find the winners. I think we can expect that. So let's start with the game that's going to tip off at noon for me, 3 o'clock for you guys. I like these matinee games. The Indiana Pacers 26-28, 22-32 against the spread. Head to Utah to take on the Jazz, who are in first place in the Western Conference. Very closely, though. The Suns are right on their tails. They're 41-14, 33-21 against the spread. They set the total at 233. Indiana's coming off a win against Houston where they were ahead by a lot, and they kind of let Houston sneak back, but they were able to finish the job. And Utah's coming off a 10-point win against against the Thunder, where they did not cover the spread. So they're setting this line at 10. It's an early afternoon start. AP, what do you make of this game?
Yeah, this is one of the games I skipped over when because I'm doing the playbook today. But from a betting standpoint, I like Indy with the points here. I think 10 is a little bit too much. I hate these big spreads though. I'm never betting like the Jazz. Like I'm not betting them -10 here. I just think that's just like way too much. I think maybe a slight lean on the over. I always get worried about these early games, though. Like, are the players awake? Are they good to go? Like, sometimes you get a really sloppy first quarter. I don't know what your guys' opinion on that. But, I mean, if it was like a normal game environment, Indy's playing at a really fast pace. We got Jordan Clarkson probable. Joe Ingles is in. Royce O'Neal's in. So, like, they have a lot of their guys back. I would slightly lean over and a slight lean to the Indy side here is kind of where I'm at.
All right. Yeah, I like the Pacers too. I don't see how you can take the Jazz here. To me, it seems like a Pacers or pass play. Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Pacers or pass. I mean, this Utah team's sitting in first, so they really have nothing to play for at this point other than maintaining that 1 seed. Where the Pacers,
which I think that matters to them though.
Yeah, but the Pacers are kind of dangling on the playing game to where I think this game means more to them. So yeah, I would take the 10 points here. With them.
Well, we all like the 10 points in the early matinee afternoon, but let's jump on to the main slate, the one that AP is creating, the playbook now for runpuresports.com. It's New Orleans Pelicans 25-30, 25-30 against the spread, heading down to Washington to take on the Wizards, who are 21-33, 28-26 against the spread. Hey, Tyler, don't look now. This Washington team's playing well. They went 4-2 on a West Coast road trip, which for a team that's struggling to make the playing game on the East, I mean, I think that's a fantastic result. Now they go home. I told you about it beforehand. I kind of like treating the first game back for a traveling road team coming off a longer road trip almost as another road game. I don't think you get the full home court advantage as the players get in and they have to take care of everything as they get back into town. So I wouldn't necessarily give them the full home court advantage here. And this Pelicans team is a team that I was complaining to you about before we started because they're completely inconsistent. I don't like what Stan Van Gundy's doing with the lineup and just how some nights they look so good defensively and then other nights they don't care at all. Really, to me, I think it's an indictment on the coaching staff and how they set this team up, getting an older coach to deal with all these young players in development. I don't know if it was the best idea. Regardless, their roster is so much better than the Wizards. AP, what do you think of this game? And will you be laying 1.5 with the New Orleans Pelicans?
Yeah, no, I like the Wizards here.
Okay.
I get it. They're off of, or they're coming off that long road trip for sure. But man, Westbrook looks good. He looks very, very good right now. They're making a nice little run. I was just looking at it. They gotta play very well to get in, right? I mean, even to get into that playing game. I mean, things are kind of tight in the East, but they're not out of it. And so, if they could make a run, which they have been, I think for them this is a key game. Like this is a win over a Pelicans team that has been up and down, but has looked good at times as well. Who's in a similar spot in the Western Conference? They need to win basically out. They need to, they're arguably in a tougher spot than the Wizards, just with how stacked the West is. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the Wizards. I think they win. This would be a game that I'd be looking at the over in, but 242.5 is what I'm looking at. And if you look at the past few Pelicans games, they've fallen well under that number. I still think it could go over that number. I think that it's just too good of a number. I was hoping for like a 237 number, which sometimes we see in a game with this projected pace. So I got to just stick with the Wizards side here. I feel good about that. I think they win outright.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're saying about the Pelicans, right? Against the Knicks, 222. Against the Kings, 227. And the Kings are a high pace team, kind of like the Wizards. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 225. Against Philly, only 198. So when they're setting this number, they're setting it on the Washington side, right? Because Washington hit, what is that? 234 against Sac, 246 against Utah, and 240 against Phoenix. So this seems to be more of a Washington number than the Pelicans number. I think they set it too high. I might look at playing the under here, especially with the pace the Pelicans have been at lately. Tyler, what are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, I'm writing an article about this game, so I won't give an official play, but a couple little spots I looked at in this game. Mm-hmm. Now, you said Washington's been playing a lot better lately, and they are coming off that road trip. But if you look at their last 5 games, wins against Orlando, Golden State, Utah, Sacramento. We could say 2 of those teams are tanking. The win against Golden State came on a 4-point play that Beal hit with 6 seconds to go. They gave him the lead. Mm-hmm. In the Utah game, Conley and Clarkson were both out. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that 4-1 record is a little bit fluky, I'd like to say, to where the Pelicans, you look at it, they've lost to Brooklyn, who I think is the best team in the league, beat a full-strength Philly team, beat the Cavs, beat the Sacramento Kings, and then lose to the 4th-ranked defensive unit in the Knicks in their last game. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, small lean to the New Orleans side, I'd say. But I'll have that article up soon with the play.
Well, I'll be looking forward to reading that and tailing that play. What did you think on the total here? I think 242.5 is too high.
I'd still lean over because you'll have Lonzo back in this game for the Pelicans. And you look at both teams' game against Sacramento, who's similar pace to Washington, and both teams put up pretty nice numbers. Now, I know that the Sacramento game against the Pelicans only got to 227, but I don't think the Wizards are going to have any answer for Zion under the hoop. And I just think him and Brandon Ingram are going to torch him.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's a nice little breakdown for that game. We got opposite sides there. So for the viewers, you're going to have to make the call here. Charlotte is heading to Brooklyn. Charlotte's catching 13.5. I mean, okay, so let's do this daily thing with the Brooklyn Nets, right? Who's playing for the Brooklyn Nets? I see Kevin Durant's in. Blake Griffin is in. James Harden's out. Tyler Johnson's out. and I don't see any word on Kyrie Irving. AP, when you were making the playbook, did you expect Kyrie to play?
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick.
Or is he on personal issues and now Basketball Monster's not even listing him?
No, I think he's in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Harden's out, Tyler Johnson's out. Kevin Durant might have a minutes. They might be monitoring his minutes, but Kyrie is good to go.
Okay, cool. Well, we definitely need to know that when handicapping Nets game. And buyer beware if you play this game early. Kyrie Irving is always a wild card to sit at the last minute. So, he might burn the wrong scent of incense before the game and need to sit out. So, always rough when you're handicapping the Nets. But what do you think, AP? I think 13.5, even for a completely decimated Charlotte team, is too much. And I kind of lean towards taking the points here. But I didn't make a bet yet because I didn't necessarily feel that strong about it. How are you looking at this game?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte is a very thin team. No Devontae Graham still. Gordon Hayward obviously out. I mean, it's like look at the starting lineup: Terry Rozier, Caleb Martin, Miles Bridges, Jalen McDaniels, who's played very good, and then Biyombo. Like that's just a very
Zeller's not even starting anymore.
No, then look at their bench. Wanamaker is questionable as well. Like there's a chance he might not play. You got Wanamaker, you got Cody Martin, and then Cody Zeller. I think the Nets destroy him here. I mean, Hornets are, lost 3 in a row to the Hawks, Lakers, and Cavs. They lost by 13 to the Cavs. They lost by a bunch to the Lakers, and lost to the Hawks. They beat a shorthanded Bucks team, I believe, and they beat the Thunder, which. I mean, it's the Thunder. So
right.
I think the Nets should roll. Again, though, like I never feel good about 12 points in the NBA. Terry Rozier could always go off. Again, I think if like he gets going, they can easily throw Bruce Brown in there, make some adjustments at halftime and get rolling. So maybe this is a game where you watch the first half and maybe if it's close or something like that, then you hammer the Nets. Outside of that, it's a stay away from me because there's no way I'm taking the Hornets, plus 12.
All right, Tyler. I lean the Hornets. AP leans the Nets. Tiebreaker. Who do you like?
Give me the best team in the NBA here. Give me the Nets.
All right.
I just think the offense is going to be too much. I think they could pour it on here. And I think Charlotte's going to need guys like Rozier to just be on fire to even keep up in this game. I mean, but that's
all right.
Go ahead.
So, like, I got to – all right, I wasn't meaning to cut you off, Tyler, but I got to hear spreads reasoning for this because let's just say this game stays close. In DFS formats, it is interesting then because you have a very tight rotation on the Hornets side and you know where the usage is going to be at. So I'm definitely intrigued if you do think it's going to stay close, Fred.
All right, so here's my reasoning. Number one, I think Charlotte will care about this game a little more than Brooklyn, especially when it comes to covering, not necessarily winning. And some of these losses that Charlotte took, I don't necessarily mind from a defensive perspective. The replacements, like Gordon Hayward was all right, but he's not the best. LaMelo the same way. I'll tell you what, I'm worried about P.J. Washington because I like the way that he defends, so I definitely want him in there. But I like Miles Bridges as a defender. I think McDaniels has been playing great, and it's weird how Brad Wanamaker was absolutely terrible on the Warriors, but right now he's a competent backup NBA point guard, right? It's not like you're like, oh, I'm excited about having Brad Wanamaker, but they're not getting crushed in those minutes like I expected them to. And this is just a Brooklyn team that out of any of them all in the NBA, it reminds me of the Clippers last year. I mean, they just simply don't care about their playoff seeding and they don't care about winning by margin. So while it's quite possible that they could, I just don't necessarily trust them to turn it on, especially in the second half. If they're up by 15, 17, I still think Charlotte's live here. So, but I didn't actually bet this game. I'm just telling you where I leaned. I didn't put any money behind it because I also think that what you're saying is quite plausible and that the talent wins through and they're up by 25 even without an effort. It's quite plausible too. But, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte was able to keep this game close on a Friday night. So, This will be an interesting one, and we'll check in and we'll see how it goes during the game as it's going on tonight. Let's talk about this next one really quickly because I'll be honest, I don't have too much interest in it, and maybe from DFS you might find more with the amount of people out. But just from a betting perspective, this game's tough. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 20-35, 26-29 against the spread, head to Detroit to take on the Pistons in the battle of two tanking teams. Although, because the top three teams they all split at 13% at the number one pick. I don't really know if the result matters that much. I think both of these teams will most likely be in the top three, but we'll see how that turns out. But this injury report's a sea of red. Muscala's out. Pokuvetski's out. Gabriel Deck, who I don't think has even played yet, is out. Josh Hull's out. My guy Dort is in. You know I like Dort, so keep that in mind. SGA is still out. And then on the Detroit side, they're sitting Plumlee, Dennis Smith Jr., Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington, Jeremy Grant, Rodney Magruder. I can't really cap this game. I don't know these players well enough. AP, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that for me, like, I don't know how you cap it, but it's going to be fine for fantasy. With the Pistons and Dwayne Casey, we're always worried about his rotations because if he has 15 guys, he's going to try to play all 15 guys. That's how he is.
Yeah.
But tonight we get, what do they have? 10 bodies, maybe 11 bodies, but 2 guys haven't played. So for like DFS, I have a lot of interest in Killian Hayes. And then for me, and then Isaiah Stewart, he's a guy I've always liked, especially in this matchup. You could even play on the other side, like Moses Brown. He's an active guy. And then your guy, Lou Dort, also. He looked phenomenal the other night. So it is an interesting game for DFS for sure. It's just like on the Pistons side, I want to know who Lou Dort's going to guard because I don't want to play that guy. I want to I feel like it has to be Diallo or Josh Jackson. And you got Baisley, who's a decent defender as well. So clearly, Killian Hayes is I think, a smash play. Isaiah Stewart is a smash play. Then it gets a little tricky for me. It's because Lou Dort just like the other night, like when he went off, he also shut down Donovan Mitchell that night. So he looked very good. But yeah, I'm off this game for betting. Love it for DFS.
Tyler, what do you think about this game? And if you don't have much, we'll just go on to the next one.
I'll just go with 2 words: hard pass.
All right, man. I don't blame you there. Even
That's smart.
You and I watch NBA, right? We're watching all these games. We don't know enough of these players.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't realize how deep the injury report was for Detroit and how many guys are sitting.
Yeah.
If you had a few more of those guys in, I'd love Detroit at that 3 because I think they just blow OKC out of the water.
Yeah.
But you have nothing on this court for them tonight. So this game is just, I wouldn't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, let's just move on. Orlando Magic, another great game, right?
another one.
Orlando Magic, who are 18-37, but 28-26 against the spread, head to Tampa Bay to take on the tanking Raptors, 22-34, 23-32 against the spread. AP, I was telling Mangone the other day, I like to go on the subreddits and read what all the fans are saying. The fans are all on board with this tank because, first of all, they're in Toronto. The Raptors are playing in Tampa, so it's not even like they even have to show up and watch this trek. They're kind of in that championship mindset, and they want to crack it at one of these top 14 picks in a loaded NBA draft. So the Raptors seem to be all on board with the tank. Now, some news changed overnight here because and I'm glad I didn't play this overnight because it would have made me mad. Originally, I did not think we were going to get Gary Trent, Jalen Harris, or DeAndre Bembry. Now they're all listed as doubtful, which is crazy.
Yeah, they're not playing.
So you think they're all out? Then why is Van Fleet playing? Why did they even put him out there?
That's a very good question, and I have a note on him in the playbook. I'm just like, maybe to have the 8 bodies. Well, no, they got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they got 10.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I just. I would be very.
They got to send one of their main guys out there, right? Anobi sitting, Siakam sitting.
Yeah,
Lowry's out. You got to put somebody on the floor. Trent's doubtful.
Yeah, I was just really surprised to see Van Fleet in there when I saw the rest of the starters out. So
he hasn't played in a while too. So that's going to be a tricky spot tonight for sure in DFS.
Yeah. What do you think of this game, though? I hate to be Mr. Hot Take guy. I like the Magic here. I've been liking the play of James Ennis. I think that the more I look into this trade, I think that getting Wendell Carter Jr. Is a fantastic upgrade. He seems to be a lot more comfortable in Orlando. I was reading a little bit about him this morning, and in Chicago, his coaches said that they've really struggled with his confidence, that his confidence kept going up and down. He seems to be much more confident in Orlando with a more, he's back to being a more of a main guy, more centerpiece, and more defined in his role here. I just like this way these teams that Orlando's playing, and it just seems to me like Toronto is trying to lose. So even if it's close, I don't think Nurse is going to play Van Fleet at the end. So I like the Magic here, but I don't know. Am I crazy, AP?
No, I like the Magic too, getting two. You got Van Vliet in there, but honestly, like normally I'd worry about his defense, but if he's not motivated, which why would he be motivated? Like you're not going to see the effort on the defensive end. So like I'm not worried about that at all. We don't have Michael Carter Williams on the Magic side. He's very frustrating. Cole Anthony, who isn't afraid to shoot, isn't afraid to create his own shot. Not a big guy though. At the same time, but I just think, Wendell Carter looked really fresh last game. Who knows if it was because he was going against his former team. But if he comes out and plays like that, I think you really have to like the Magic tonight. In DFS formats, if you like revenge, Keem Birch is playing his former team. So you could play him. He's going to
So I go with Mangone about this. Is this even revenge when they granted him his release so he could be on a better team?
No, it's not. That's just the terms people like to use. I mean, I will say anytime you're playing the guys that you were just practicing with, playing with, you're going to be a little motivated. You don't want to look bad. They'll all give each other shit. So I mean, you
should know their stuff, right? Because you've watched them get yelled at practice, like go to your left or you put your head down.
I think if you don't at least consider it, Wendell Carter was a great example last game. He looked incredible out there. He was aggressive. We saw an uptick in his usage rate. He took more shots. He was active on the boards. Obviously, something was helping to motivate him because the matchup wasn't the easiest on paper. So it is something that I'm always going to consider. But I mean, the thing about Birch tonight is he's 3.8K and he's going to get a bunch of minutes. So he'll make the player pool for me. I don't feel comfortable with this Raptors team, especially with Fred VanVleet. I think Malachi Flynn is fine. I think, it's tough. Some of these guys Boucher's priced up, VanVleet's priced up. And so I think there's more risk here than a lot of people are going to think when they're targeting this game.
All right, Tyler, 2 for the Magic. You ready to join us? You want to make it 3, or you want to jump on the other side and give us a contrarian take?
I'm jumping on the other side. I just can't. Hear why. I can't back that team that's just literally in the bottom. We've all just said Toronto's the tanking team here, right?
Right.
But Orlando's the team that's 18-37, to where the Raptors are a game out of the play-in. Yeah, they could still sneak in. So, I mean, I think you're getting the better coach. Yeah, you have a lot of guys sitting out on the Toronto side. Mm-hmm. But I think they win this game, and I think they win it by blowout.
Wow.
I think they just go out there. I think they light them up from 3. Give me the over and give me the Raptors.
All right. So AP and I like the Magic. Tyler is taking the alternative spread. He's going to lay 7 with the Raptors at plus 300.
So, hey, Tyler, real quick, what do you think about Van Vliet then? Because, I was initially concerned with his minutes, motivation. But, if he's out there motivated and if they do blow him out, you have to think it's on the heels of, a big game from Van Vliet.
Yeah, I think he could have a solid game, maybe 20 points, 25. I think you see maybe double-digit assists because he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. And, I mean, I think the motivation will be there because we haven't seen him play most of the year. So the guy's definitely going to want to touch the floor and actually get some playing time. I mean, all we've seen is him been banged up all year. And we know he loves to win. So, I mean, looking at that standings, 1 game out, they win here. Chicago loses tonight. They're in the playing game.
It's a good matchup. I'm just thinking, FanDuel and, the steals. It's a good steals and blocks matchup for him, too. Magic, they don't have very many good ball handlers. So it'll be interesting to watch for sure. I'm definitely not going to just discount this game. I just think there are some risks to it.
And you look at the Magic's net ratings, They're 29th in overall net rating, 27th in offense, 26th in defense. I just can't back a team like that.
All right. That's a good take. It's a very good take.
Yeah, that's completely fair. So I like the breakdowns, guys. If you like them too, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, head on over to runpurebets.com, check out all the top-notch gambling information we have to offer. And with that being said, let's jump into what I consider to be the main event of the evening, even though it's one of the first games on the schedule. The Los Angeles Clippers, 39-18, 33-23 against the spread, head to Philadelphia to take on the Eastern Conference leading 76ers, who are 38-17, 30-23 against the spread. AP, who do you like, and is this a potential finals preview?
Finals preview? No, definitely not. No way. But I will say I like Philly here. I like them with the points if it's still in the -3 range. Joel Embiid is man, he's been playing so good. The Clippers,
this is a perfect spot.
This is such a bad matchup for the Clippers. I mean, you have so much length on the Philly side with Ben Simmons. You got Joel Embiid down there. Who's going to stop him? Like, Zubac's not going to stop him. Like,
he'll do all right, though. At least he's the same size.
Yeah, that's true. But, like, Joel Embiid, I mean, man, he's looked good the last few games. He's got handles. He's, dribbling, getting their spin into the lane. Like, he looks good. I think Embiid has a big game. I think they smash him. The other thing, too, is, like, Kawhi Leonard is still questionable. And, like, you got to figure he plays. But I'm not holding my breath with that because we've seen the Clippers do the most random stuff ever in some of these games. So it would not surprise me if, like, one of them randomly sits. And so that's why I definitely can't back the Clippers here. I love the Philly side. And they're at home. For whatever reason, it seems like they always play a little bit better at home. I think they
win. A
win.
lot better at home. Yeah. All right. Well, I think you did a great breakdown. But one question before I throw to Tyler. Are you concerned about Tobias Harris missing the game? He pulled up a little shaky towards the end of that last game. And I think he's a key contributor there and someone that I would be using to maybe attack Paul George and Kawhi and try and get them in foul trouble. Are you expecting Tobias Harris to play? And if he's out, would that make you less hesitant to make this bet, or is this just an Embiid and Simmons are going to roll type of play?
I think it's Embiid's going to roll. I think he's going to have just a monster game here. And so, Tobias in there definitely helps for sure. But I don't think it's like a make or break type of thing.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess I had rated a little higher than, so I'd love to hear that take. Tyler, give me your thoughts on pretty much what's the premier game of the evening. I mean, assuming both teams try their hardest, this game should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to say this one should have playoff intensity because, I mean, even though we don't think it's going to be a finals matchup, I mean, these two teams got to be looking at each other and thinking that they could see each other later on. So, I mean, a lot of it hinges on that injury report. If Kawhi is in and Harris is out, I'd lean the Clippers. Okay. I think they could withstand that giant game from Embiid because if Harris isn't there, we know Simmons isn't the scorer that Harris is. So they're going to need another option to step up there. And I don't think guys like Curry and them would be able to step up as much as they would need Harris. So lean towards the Clippers there. And the Clippers also, over their last 15, their offensive rating comes in at first. And they have the second highest net rating just behind the Jazz.
No, they've been rolling. They've been absolutely rolling. One thing I'd also like to ask you, Doc Rivers has to be a factor here, right? I mean, this is a case where the coaching, I would say, is worth a point or two.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Yeah, the former matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he should know the weaknesses of all these players. So that'll be.
Hey, wasn't he talking shit about them too? Not like talking shit, but basically.
Well, Paul George started it and he answered.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, looking at their previous matchup this year, the Clippers blasted them by 10.
Yeah, but they weren't 100% healthy in that game, were they?
I don't have the box score. I'm just looking. It has home.
What day was it? I'll look it up real quick.
March 27th.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't know.
I think that might have been as Embiid was going down with that injury.
Yeah, I don't think Philly was healthy for that game, which is why I didn't put a lot of stock in that game. Tobias Harris was the leading scorer in that game. Yeah, see, they had no Embiid in that game.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
I mean, you can just throw that result out, right?
Yeah. Hey, one other thing, guys, like So they just rested almost everyone. It seems like Morris, Leonard, George.
They're starting 5.
Probably to get ready for this game. I mean, right?
That's
why else would you rest them? So maybe both teams had this one. You guys are getting me excited to watch this game tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
I mean, I haven't placed a bet on it yet, but I mean, this will be on my TV for sure, money on it or not. I could probably have 2-3 games that I have money on, and I'll have this one on one of my main TVs because it's just such a fantastic matchup, and I really can't wait to see how it goes down. So, AP likes Philly. Tyler leans the Clippers if everyone's healthy, and I didn't give a lean yet, but I'll give you guys one before the end of the show. How's that? I think it's a really tough matchup though, and I don't know if I'll be getting involved. Pregame. Of course, if I'm watching and one team gets out to a big lead, I might jump in live because I think the ending will finish close and pretty close to this line. I do not think this game has a lot of blowout potential. A game that I do think has blowout potential, though, is the Denver Nuggets, who are 35-20, 27-28 against the spread, heading to Houston to take on the Rockets, who are 14-41, 18-37 against the spread. Denver minus 8.5 here. Total 226. Houston, let's see. We just lost by 8 to Indiana. Lost by 6 to Phoenix. Lost by, 16 to Golden State. And then 17 to the Clippers. So Houston team, even when they cover, they only cover by like half a point. This team is not playing well. They're obviously already looking towards next year. And, it's pretty much Christian Wood or bust here, AP. How are you feeling about this game? And do you think the Nuggets cover a rather large number for a road game on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, I'm never taking – I'm not taking the Houston just in the spot at all just because when they look bad, they look really bad. And when they're struggling, you kind of see John Wall just try to play this ISO game that doesn't work, and he puts up bad shots. So, against the Nuggets – they're not going to be able to get easy buckets in the paint. Michael Porter Jr. has been playing. He stepped up last game. He looked very good. PJ Dozier looked really good, too, off the bench. And so, that backcourt, obviously, with Jamal Murray out, is thinner. But still, they got Monty Morris. They got PJ Dozier. And we know on the offensive end of the court, Nikola Jokic is the guy running the show anyway. So I think from a defensive perspective, Murray being out doesn't change things too much. So I think MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, I think they're just going to be too much. I think you have a lot of support from the bench if PJ Dozier and company's playing well. And so I like the Nuggets here. 8.5 on the road is tough. Probably a pass for me, but I'm definitely not taking the Rockets.
Tyler, what do you think? I'm laying the 8.5. AP's a little hesitant. What are you thinking about this game?
I mean, I don't mind taking the Nuggets here. Throw the Rockets in that same boat as Orlando for me, as just teams.
I think they're way worse than Orlando. Watching the games, I think the Orlando gives you more effort. I think Houston might be a little more talented.
I think so, too. I agree with that. I think Houston has a little bit more talent, but both teams tend to give up late in the games when they're down because they just have no reason
Rockets
to win.
Aren't like that at all. Rockets actually come out like crap, and they do better in the second half.
All right. Well, then, I mean,
we did see that last game. That was funny.
It's been a lot. I don't have their record, but if you just bet them second half, they're not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, small lean to the Denver side though. I kind of like the over here because I think the Rockets will just let them score at will, and I think they'll put up enough to get that up over 227.
I don't hate that at all. Yeah, it seems like the Rockets their MO is give a 20-point deficit, lull them into sleep, and then when the other team stops paying attention, then they make a little run towards the end of the game. But okay, there's not really too much to go over on that game other than that. It really, unless you're gambling on it, not a lot of excitement there. The Nuggets should win straight up for sure. Let's talk about a game that, boy, so last night when I was going over this game, I'm talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, who are 27-26, 32-20 against the spread, heading to Chicago to take on the Bulls, who are 22-32, 28-25 against the spread. I thought that I was going to be looking to back the Bulls here, but I just couldn't do it. My idea behind backing the Bulls was that even though they lost Levine, Vukovic is still going to be able to soar. You'll move Kobe White in there, who can kind of play the Levine role. Obviously not as good, but it's not necessarily that much of a downside. and that maybe I would get some free points with everybody completely writing off the Bulls, with Levine being out. But I'll tell you, the main thing that kept me away is I started looking at Monday night's game. I actually rewatched the condensed game that I was telling you about, Tyler, this morning. And Memphis just crushed Chicago, and that was even with Levine in there. And that was in Memphis though, so I guess we are in Chicago tonight. Would be the only difference. But I don't know. I'm having problems. As much as I originally wanted to back the Chicago team, I'm having second thoughts and reservations. AP, what do you think?
Yeah, tough spot without Levine, and the line looks a little trappy because you can make an argument for the Bulls with Vucevic, with Satoransky. This lineup, like if they start Patrick Williams, Thad Young, Laurie, Marketing, and Vucevic, it's kind of an interesting lineup with Kobe White coming off the bench. I don't know what they're going to do though, because Kobe White hasn't been good either. He's been very bad on the defensive end of the court. So, if you have kind of a traditional lineup there with Satoransky, maybe running things with Vucevic, it's interesting. I don't really feel good about it. I was just pulling up Memphis. They've been playing. It seems like they've been playing hard of late, right? They're one in 3, 1 win, 3 losses over their last 4.
Yeah, and the win was against Chicago.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I haven't bet many Grizzlies games. They're a team I have a hard time kind of getting my head wrapped around. So probably a stay away from me. I'll be interested to hear what Tyler has to say though as well.
Yeah, Tyler, I was telling you before we went on, I'm really impressed with the job that Taylor Jenkins is doing with this Memphis team. It's like John Morant and 4 extras from Hoosiers out there getting it done. I don't think there's a lot of talent on this team. I'm really giving credit to Taylor Jenkins, but maybe am I underrating some of these role players? And what do you think of this game?
I hate to disappoint you, AP, but this is a stay away from me too.
All right, hey guys, all right. So real quick though, if you look at those games, they played the Knicks play everyone, tight. They give max effort. That game was close.
Did you watch it? The Knicks squeaked that out. Memphis
did they?
Because I had the Knicks. That was my official play that day, and they were down the first 3 quarters, and they just squeezed the game out. It was I felt lucky to win that game. Memphis actually acquitted themselves pretty well.
Yeah, and no Levine. Levine didn't even play well. Last time they played, so it's gosh, it just feels like one of those trap lines. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. It feels like a trap line. I haven't been able to read good on Memphis all year.
Yeah.
And I can't think of Bulls team who's missing their star player now. So, just a complete stay away from me.
Yeah, you know me. I love that superstar subtraction, grabbing the team the first game the superstar's out on the idea that everyone's excited about the extra usage, which translates to more effort on the defensive end, because everyone feels more involved in the game rather than just watching Levine dribble and make threes. Even if they're going in, sometimes it can be disheartening when you don't get the ball. But it's just really rough to try and take this team. I think it's really tough. So I am not going to get involved, even though I tell you what, I looked at Chicago a lot last night. Here's another team that I have been fading that I'm not going to fade tonight. The Miami Heat, 28-27, 23-31 against the spread. Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 14-42, 23-32 against the spread. If you guys watch the rundown, you know that I think that Miami is a tad bit overvalued. I think they had the perfect setup in the bubble last year. People are still remembering that. I think that Hero has definitely decreased. I think him and Murray both had a little bubble bump, and now they're getting back to real life here. I wasn't necessarily impressed with the addition of Oladipo. I think that he's more of a name than an actual contributor at this point, even though he's still a good basketball player. I don't think it necessarily puts them over the edge. And I think the loss of Jay Crowder is tougher than people realize. He was a big, versatile defender who could hit the 3, and I think that's kind of what they're missing right now. That being said, I've enjoyed fading Miami on this road trip. Tonight is where it ends. This Minnesota Timberwolves team, I cannot get behind. They are definitely playing for the future, and they have incentive to lose because they have I think it's top 3 or top 4 protected pick heading to Golden State. So if they're not in the top 3, they don't have a draft pick in one of the best drafts in the past 5 years. So there's no incentive for them to win basketball games. I'm not laying it. I'm not laying 6.5 on the road, but the Miami fade ends tonight. I'm not getting involved in this game. And if I did, I probably would take Miami. But AP, what do you think? It's another tough one with the superior road team laying a lot of points on a Friday night.
Yeah, we finally got to an over that I actually absolutely love. Over 221.
Okay.
And look, like you got to go back 10 games before Timberwolves game went under this number. And that was against the Knicks. So Grizzlies, 76ers, Kings, Pacers, Celtics, Bulls, Nets, Bucks, all those games easily went over this 220 number. And I think we're going to get points from, you have a lot of support from Goran Dragic and Tyler Hero off the bench. I think they're going to get buckets. I believe D'Lo's in. I think you're going to have a lot of scoring here on both sides. And this is a number I feel very good about.
Yeah, I mean, D'Lo's great for overs, right? Great offensive player, terrible defensive
Doesn't
player.
play defense, yeah.
And not only that, it's not like it's not like he's giving effort and he's falling short. I mean, he just doesn't even seem interested at all. So, D'Lo equals overs to me. Tyler, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I love that over in this game. There's going to be no defense from the Minnesota side. Miami should be able to score at will. We all know Minnesota pushes the pace, so they'll put points on the board regardless. Yeah. And at 221, I think that's a little low for a Timberwolves game, but that's just because of the Heat team being on the other side. But, I mean, I still think that should be closer to the 230 number.
AP, Karl-Anthony Towns, 10-7 on DraftKings tonight. Is he going to be worth it as a spend-up, or do we have way better options?
I mean, he's been crushing. He's really been crushing. Yeah. You can play him. I think he's going to be low owned, too, out of all the studs. But
because there's so many options tonight, right?
Yeah. I mean, all right, so who's safer? Jokic is obviously safer. Joel Embiid, obviously safer. So that's going to suppress the ownership on a guy like Towns. So if you want to get different, tough matchup, though, against Bam. Bam is a very athletic big that can, stretch and get out there to cover him on the perimeter. So those are reasons why he's
what's his price? Because he should feast. He should feast on Towns.
Yeah,
the only problem there is you have those games where he shows up and he only gets you like 10 points and 8 rebounds.
Yeah, he had if he would have had better shooting against Denver, he would have been right there. He scored 37 DraftKings points. 30 minutes, though. I got to look at the rotation because 30 minutes, 33, 28, 33, 30. The rotation there could be a little bit of a concern for sure.
What's up, Joey Work? Yeah, at the end of a road trip here, I don't expect Spoelstra to push him past 32 or 33. So I would keep that in mind if you're going to roster Bam or even looking at his props here tonight. I expect you talked about the deep rotations earlier. Who was the coach you said liked to use all 15? Dwayne Casey? I think Spoelstra is kind of the same during the regular season. He'll like to go 9 or 10 deep on that bench. And, hey, when you develop players the way the Heat do, you might as well, right? Because a lot of times you're bringing in some quality basketball players, not just people who don't deserve to be in the league. So we all like the over on that game. We'll stay away from the side and jump on to the next game. The Portland Trailblazers, 31-23, 26-27 against the spread, heading down to San Antonio to take on the Spurs, 26-27, 28-24 against the spread. The Spurs are catching 2.5 at home on a total of 234. So, gosh, it was about a week and a half ago, and Dame Lillard, really gave a frustrated press conference. And he basically said we can't beat the good teams, right? That we do really good against the teams, but against the very top teams, we're not doing well. Go look at the numbers. It's the same. They're losing against all the top teams. So now I come to handicap this game, and I'm like, are the Spurs really a top team, though? Or is this a game that Portland just rolls because they've been doing good, beating the teams that they're better than? So, AP, what do you think about that, and how are you approaching this game?
Yeah, so one thing about this game, I was looking at it for DFS wise. I don't like these late games tonight. But the last game is an easy fade, but this is one where it's tough too because the Blazers are healthy. I'm not like I do like their side because I don't respect this Spurs team maybe as much as some might, and we got a healthy Blazers team. I mean, you got to think that these guys get it going, but like for me, DFS wise, I don't see how you play anyone in this game at all, and I'll most likely be full fading it. I do think the one guy you can make a case for is Carmelo Anthony, because like when you go and look at DraftKings tonight, he's 3.9K. So like when I'm looking at it, I'm not betting this game, but when I look at it for DFS purposes, he's one guy that's interesting because he finally saw a bunch of run, and he was hot, so they kept him in late in the fourth, and he got there. So 3.9K, he's always a guy that can kind of get to work. I mean, he has a ton of upside too that we've seen many times throughout the season. But outside of that, this game's a stay away for me betting wise. I'm not betting against Dame Lillard here, even though he hasn't played good of late. Definitely not betting against him and CJ McCollum against a backcourt in the Spurs that I don't know. Like I don't think that Derek White and DeJounte Murray are going to give these two guys much resistance at all. I think DeRozan and Norm Powell match up pretty good. So yeah, I definitely give the edge here to the Blazers.
Were DeRozan and Powell ever teammates? They were around together, right?
I think for maybe 1 year, but I don't think Powell played very many minutes at that point.
All right. Well, I like that you brought up Carmelo Anthony, AP, because I'm ready to go on my litany list of complaints about the Trailblazers. I think this team has run its course, and I really hope they blow it up at the end of the year. The two things I don't like is I think that the Dame CJ backcourt is proven that it's just not going to get it done in the playoffs. Like you need to have some guy that's going to provide some sort of on-ball resistance. And then I think Terry Stotts has got to go. I think he's a good coach, right? But he's run his course. They haven't got anywhere else. And when I watch, there's one thing that makes me just feel this way, and that's the second unit with Enes Kanter and Carmelo Anthony. I mean, like, you're already not that good starting defensive unit, and then you bring on, to me, like the two worst combination of defense there. How are you not staggering them? How are they going out there at the same time? And even when it's brought up, he's just kind of stubborn about it. And he goes, well, Carmelo's the backup 4, Kanter's the backup 5. They're going to play together. That doesn't seem smart to me. Let's get a younger guy in there. Let's try and look at some new ways because I like the Blazers. I love Dame. Obviously, he's a NorCal guy, grew up in Oakland. So, I'm a big fan of his, and it's just like so frustrating watching the team spin his wheels. But Tyler, now that my rant is over about why Portland needs to blow it up in the offseason, what do they do tonight against the Spurs team that might need to blow it up too?
I mean, to touch on that rant real quick before I go into that.
Yeah,
I mean, where else do you put those two at? Because you already have the defensive liabilities in the 2 guard spots on offense. So you slide one of the bigs in too. Now you have 3 of 5 positions that have defensive liabilities. So you kind of just have to suck it up and put them both on that on that second unit.
I would just choose one, and only one of them gets minutes.
It's tough though because it's like Kanter grabs a shit ton of rebounds, so he helps you under the hoop, and it's like you can give Melo the ball, and it's like go get me 2 points, and he'll get you those points.
Yeah. But
it
is tough, but.
Hey, don't you think they were playing better with Derek Jones out there, just defensively? So take Norm Powell out, throw Derek Jones in there with CJ, Dame Lillard. I mean,
it gives you another athletic guy that can block shots. That's what they need.
Move Norm Powell to come off the bench. Then you got a lot of scoring off the bench. You still have that defensive problem for sure, but
if you can light teams up like that, defense is like second worry at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, good.
My last comment is I always like Terry Stotts because he's great for fantasy because the rotation you're getting. He's super predictable, which may not be good for the NBA, but it's good for fantasy because we know exactly how many minutes those guys are going to play.
And who knows? I think that he might be able to do well on a different team, right? We can just say that just tear on him, right? This is one of the worst defensive rosters, just piece by piece, not the sum, but each individual player, right? So many defensive weaknesses. Really, the only plus defenders they have are Nurkic, Covington, and Jones. Everyone else is a minus defender. Lillard's a minus, McCollum's a minus, Powell's a minus. Powell's maybe you could quantify as average, but it's a tough team too. So maybe just a new scenario would do him well. But it just seems like this team's run its course. But Tyler, we didn't get a pick yet. Who do you like? Do you like Portland or do you like the home dog Spurs here?
I'd lean towards the Portland side here. I mean, just like you were saying before, Dame says they could beat the bad teams, lose to the good teams. You look at their last 10 games, losses to Boston, Miami, Utah, Clippers, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
All good teams. Wins over Detroit, OKC, Detroit, Toronto, Orlando. So, I mean, that's a true statement out of Lillard's mouth.
Yeah.
But then you look on the other side. The only wins that San Antonio has, Orlando, they beat Dallas by 2.
Yeah.
and then they beat Sacramento. Outside of that, losses to Toronto, Denver twice, Cleveland, Indiana, Atlanta, and then another loss to Sacramento. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I just think that team's in full shamble mode at this point. Like, they're just done. They're not making the playoffs. Give me Portland here. I think they shoot them out of the gym.
Aren't they in the play-in?
I think they might be sitting right on that.
I don't think there's any way they fall out of the play-in, actually, because the Warriors is so bad. Let me double-check the standings right now.
Well, the Warriors are ahead of them by one spot.
Did they move ahead of them? Okay, so you're right. San Antonio is now 26-27. Golden State, nice little win streak. They're up to 28-28. And New Orleans is 25-30. So San Antonio really kind of holding on to that 10th seed. But with the Pelicans' inconsistencies, I wouldn't be surprised if San Antonio still finished 10. But you like Portland here, huh?
Yeah, I like Portland here. I think they smash them. I think the guards just go out, light them up from outside. That second unit for them is just going to torch this Spurs second unit.
Yeah, I mean, and there's something to be said for beating the teams that you're supposed to beat. As a Sacramento Kings fan, I long for an idea or a concept such as that. So give the Blazers credit for that. Let's talk about this last game. I know that you don't have a lot of interest in it, AP, for DFS, but hey, for betting, I think we might have an opportunity here. So let's talk about it. The New York Knicks, 29-27, 35-21 against the spread. Head to Dallas to take on the Mavericks, who are 30-24, but 26-28 against the spread. The Knicks are on, what is their ATS streak right now? 5 in a row ATS? 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 8 in a row. 8 in a row ATS for the New York Knicks. Now, remember, this is against the closing line. And then we're looking at Dallas, who have lost their last 3 against the spread. Most recently, they got that 1-point miracle against Dallas, but of course they failed to cover the -3. AP, I like the Knicks in the points here. I want to continue to ride this hot streak with the Knicks keeping games close. And I watched this Dallas team, and boy, it just seems like they're Luka and a bunch of spare parts. He's really carrying this team. I mean, I really think that talk about MVPs. You take him off. I mean, this team might be like 14-40, like the Pistons. What do you think about this game tonight? And what do you think about my pick of the Knicks +6?
Yeah, I like it. I'm such a Luka fan, and but he's obviously been bad. He's been very bad this season. So, well, I mean, maybe not bad. I think maybe
by his standards,
teams are adjusting to him defensively and forcing the ball out of his hands, forcing, like you said, his teammates to do other things. I will say, like, off the top of my head, it does seem like Kristaps Porzingis always plays a little extra motivated in these games against the Knicks. It's one factor, but still, like, man, the Knicks, they play. You know you're getting max effort from them every single night. It's something I've seen, and you know you're getting max effort on the defensive side of the ball. So, like, that's why the total's so low, 210. Like, man, I would want to bet overs there, but I don't see how you can, just because they like to slow the pace down. They play good defense. And I do think that those two things that they do really helps out their side too. So even if it's a close game, you know, you got a buffer there with the extra points. So I would agree with you. I like the points here. If you can get 6, 5.5 or 6, I think that's probably the sharper side of this bet. I'm probably staying off this game and staying off of it in DFS formats.
Yeah, and I can't argue with you staying off on DFS. I think your only argument is just to spend up for Luka, because we talked about it. I mean, there's just not a lot of other options on this Dallas team. I think that Hardaway Jr. regressed a little bit since last year. I think the Porzingis trade, you can't fault them for trying to make a big splash, but it definitely hasn't turned out. And at this point, one of the worst contracts in the NBA, I might argue, just because you have this big man who gives you blocks, but he's not giving you consistent rim protection. He's not giving you consistent defense. And really, he doesn't get down low even when he has an advantage. I mean, there's times where they do the switch and he's got a guy who's 6'8" on him and he still goes to the 3-point line. So I don't necessarily like that from Porzingis. Tyler, we talked about Elfrid Payton before and why Thibodeau continues to play him, right? And how Knicks Twitter is so upset. Well, one of the reporters from Knicks Twitter went ahead and read all these tweets to Thibodeau, and we got our answer here. Thibodeau likes Elfrid Payton switchability from 1 through 3 there, and it allows him to run just switch defense on the pick and roll. That's why he continues to play him, to the ire of all the Knicks fans. So I gave you an answer there. Give me a breakdown of this game.
I mean, this is a tough game, I think. I mean, New York looks like the side to be on here with the way they've been playing. I mean, right, 7-0 ATS their last 7, 8-1 ATS in their last 9 on the road, and 6-1 ATS in their last 7 in Dallas. So, I mean, I'd probably lean towards the Knicks side.
Okay.
My only worry on the Dallas side is just like AP said, these games do seem like Porzingis gets up for them more. But, I mean, with the way the Knicks have been playing defense, and we don't have to question effort with this team. We know the effort's going to be there. I actually think they might win this game tonight. I'd be half tempted to hit them on the money line plus 200.
Oh, I was telling you I needed a money line winner too, wasn't I? Maybe
I'll
look into that. Let's see. A guy, Esco 2320 in the chat says we crushed again yesterday, fellas, and we're going to try and do it again. AP, pressure's on. The NBA rundown has been running pure for the last couple weeks. We've been giving out winners every day, and it's that time again. It's time for the best bets, and we got to keep the streak going. I'll start with you. What's your best bet, side total or prop for a crowded NBA Friday slate?
Yeah, over Heat Timberwolves over 221. I feel very good about that. Pace is going to be very good. We're going to see a lot of easy buckets for the Heat, and I think the Wolves can do just enough to keep within striking distance. So I think this one easily goes over that number.
All right, just placed it on Bookmaker at minus 108 juice. So the line is still available, guys. 221. It is there. It is available. Tyler, best bet, side total prop. What you got?
I'm going to roll with that Portland minus 2.5. I think they go out there, and I think they just run the Spurs right off the floor and win by double digits tonight. Maybe even 20 points.
All right, I'm placing this one right now. Let me see what I have open to give you all the best bets. Let's see. I gave one on the sheet. I'm not going to give that out. I do kind of like the Magic here on the money line for those who want a lot of plays. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the game that we just talked about. I'll go ahead and grab the New York Knicks here. I just like them to keep this game close. We never have to worry about effort when we're talking about a New York Knicks team. And I think that Thibodeau will be able to design a defense to get the ball out of Luka's hands. And if I'm watching this game tonight, I'm on the Knicks. Every time Luka passes the ball, I'm pretty happy. That's a win for the defense, right? I want Tim Hardaway Jr. creating. I want Dorian Finney-Smith. I want, Josh Richardson, even Porzingis. I'd much rather have them in the ball, and I trust Thibodeau to go ahead and scheme that up. So I'm going to take my chances with your guys, Tyler. Hey, who would have thought at the beginning of the year how much money we'd be betting on the Knicks, right? I mean, it seems like we're on the Knicks
at this point in the year
3 times a week. Just fantastic stuff from your hometown team. So maybe one day I'll get a renaissance for my hometown team as well. Everybody, thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, head on over to runpurebets.com. And if you are already a Run Pure Sports member and you want to check out what we got going on the bet side, you want to get involved with the Discord, you want to read the articles that we're writing, you want to hang out with the Keg on the live show. Hey, we had a profitable live show last night, right? Titletown gave out the -6 on the NBA rundown. I jump on the live show. Warriors get out to a rough start. We slam it again. We go ahead hit the Warriors on the money line. It was just fantastic. Joey Work gave out the A's. So you're having a lot of fun on the live show. And this weekend is where you want to be because it's the UFC right in the Keg's wheelhouse. Turning around, you got Coop and Keg on Sunday for the NASCARs. And then if you're a member like me, right, you don't necessarily even have to watch the show. You'll get the notifications in the Discord, so you can be out on a Sunday enjoying the sunshine. You walk into the computer, you place the bet, you go back out to whatever you're doing. You have a profitable Sunday. So there's more than one way to win. You don't necessarily have to watch the show to take advantage of all the great picks. So that's what we got going on over here at Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. AP, what do you guys got going on the weekend on the Run Pure Sports side?
Yeah, we got NBA, we got MLB, we got a ton of winners. I mean, man, it's going to be a jam-packed weekend for sure. One question I got for you guys. Are you guys watching this Jake Paul, Ben Askren fight? I want our guy Joey Work to do a breakdown on this because I hope that Ben Askren can knock this fucking dude out. Like, God, this guy is annoying. I don't know how if you guys are watching that.
You couldn't pay me to watch that fight.
I'm the donkey that's going to buy that fight just so I could see Ben Askren hopefully knock this guy out, which he probably won't. But
yeah, they broke it down on the live show a little bit last night, and basically saying that Ben Askren has some of the worst hands.
I know he's a wrestler.
He's even said it in interviews. They were like, "Why won't you fight these guys?" He's like, "Why would I fight them when I could just wrestle them?" It's like I know I'm a better wrestler than them. Why would I fight them?
So yeah, we'll have to get Joey work. If you're still
It's
watching,
gonna be,
that is a request.
I bet it's
Even
gonna
if you
be
do it
such a
tongue in
mess.
cheek for just the Discord, Joey, I think it would be a lot of fun.
Spread
Tyler,
doesn't want to hear my take on boxing.
Yeah, I don't.
mean,
I
I want to see them get in a UFC ring because
Oh,
he
well,
would
that one
destroy
is-
that guy.
I
Yeah,
think
that
boxing is like so boring nowadays with UFC around. It's like they're just hitting each other with pillows.
All right. Well, I'm not going to take the bait for that one because we are close to our hour-long one. Me and Tyler, we'll have time for that tomorrow because it will be just you and I tomorrow, Tyler. It's a short slate, so we're going to be really efficient, being able to give our picks. I think there's only 5 games tomorrow. Potentially the return of Anthony Davis, so we'll discuss that. But did you have anything else for everybody before we get out of here?
Nope. Let's just lock these bets in and hope we got some winners.
All right, one more reminder, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Tyler and I will be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, and you will have an opportunity to see AP next Friday on the NBA Rundown. We got lots of great stuff going on over at runpuresports.com. Head on over, use the promo code GETBETS if you're already a member to become a member of the full team, and we can't wait to hang out with you and talk to you in the Discord. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hopefully the winning streak continues. We'll see you tomorrow.